Alright, welcome back. Now the 2 weeks of the login event have passed and all the rewards have been distributed, and that leaves me with a new nanocore and a optional implant pick. Now, if you're thinking that I have decided which implant to take, well, that's a little problem, because I did not decide which implant to take. I would like to pick like 3, but I can only pick 1, and it's a very tough choice between the sniping implant and between the warhead charge. So yeah, I guess I'll have to spend a little bit more time thinking about that, which one to pick. It's honestly a very tough choice. Now as for the nanocore, it seems that it's only for the Chameleon, which I'll be using, and I will see how that nanocore works on the Chameleon as well as a special mode. But overall it does look interesting because of the extra drone damage and the special mode. I mean, 32% extra drone damage. It's going to be a very tough pick to choose which attribute I would like to have on the Chameleon. Now speaking of the Chameleon, we have a Chameleon in the ball, and this encounter was definitely interesting because this Chameleon was in the system a little bit earlier, I believe, and it was a stalemate. It was a Fiend versus Chameleon, and both ships weren't able to break each other's tanks, so it was a stalemate, and the only thing that was destroyed were the drones. The Chameleon definitely lost a bunch of drones, but before that the Chameleon was actually in a Astra, so they came back for revenge. Now I'm in a Chameleon myself. My job here is to attempt to focus down the drones on the Chameleon, while the Fiend will be focusing down the ship. So what does that mean? That's a large extender. Okay, I will keep blasting the drones. I have a assault drone and a offense drone and bombard, a very good combination actually. My idea was to prevent the bombard on the Chameleon, and in order to do that I actually decided to go after the drones, because bombard is definitely a busted implant, and if the Chameleon's drones are constantly being under fire, then the Chameleon is unable to apply the bombard. And there's the drones again. The Chameleon is using offense hammerheads, and I'm trying to focus them down as quickly as I can. The shield on the Chameleon is in about 60-65%, I would say. I'm doing some good damage, although the Chameleon is definitely pulling the drones back. One drone did pop. That leaves us with the other drone, which is taking some hits, but the Chameleon pulled them back again. Okay, I didn't manage to destroy one drone. They are now in about 45-50% shield. It seems to be a passive tank. All 3 of our ships here are tank builds. So we have 3 tanks fighting currently. Okay, drones are out. This time they launched a prototype drone. That means they don't have another offense drone, which means I'll just try to focus the other offense drone. The Chameleon also tried to get my own drones, but I was also quick on pulling them back in. And this is a 2-on-1, so we do have an advantage, and the Chameleon is a passive tank, so slowly they will go down. And so far the tactic seems to be working just fine. We are managing to do some... Well, it does take a while, definitely. It's not a we're not like burning through the Chameleon in seconds. We definitely are doing some damage. Once the shield on the Chameleon goes down, it should be a easy target. Okay, offense hammer head out and the proto hammer head out, but the Chameleon is in very low shield now. I'm waiting for Bombard to return so that I can load Bombard and launch the Bombard at the drones. They did pop a extender. Let me just quickly set the Fiend on overview just so that I know what's the status of the ship. It seems in a good condition. Okay, the Fiend is holding really well. I launched my drones at the Chameleon's drones. The Chameleon pulled them back in. They did actually manage to boost a little bit of shield back, which is interesting. I mean, it's a Chameleon, they have some fast recharge. They did receive that buff some time ago. But the next Bombard hits, and yeah, now the Chameleon is taking some armor hits, armor damage. They launched the drones again, which means we'll have to focus on the drones. Our Fiend is holding really well, about 50%, 45% shield. The Chameleon is now into armor, into mostly armor. And yeah, I don't think I need to focus on drones anymore. I can just go and focus on the ship itself, and the Chameleon got destroyed. Well, that was actually that took a while. I have to admit, that definitely took a while. That was a good catch. Well, was the revenge worth it? Well, no. At the end, it just happened that there's just another loss. So yeah, revenge on the Chameleon failed. Let's take a look at the value of the Chameleon. 8.09 billion. Well, that's not a bad build, actually a decent build. I like that build. It was a PvP fit Chameleon with a lot of cargo. Why did they carry this module? There's a lot of stuff inside that cruiser. Some very good loot actually. Some very good loot actually. Not going to complain about that. That was a very good catch. Next, let's go and see what we have. I think we have another. I'm fairly sure we have another. It's not a Chameleon, it's a Gila, I think. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's a Gila. Okay, let's warp. I took the Stratus because if I remember correctly, last time I encountered a Gila, I did fail to catch it because they were using a long-range kite build. So I knew back then I should use a Stratus for occasions like this. So this time I will attempt to be a bit smarter, and I did take the Stratus, and I would say it's a good decision. So let me find a good warp in. Well, they are orbiting. They're using a micro warp drive, I would say. It does look like a micro warp drive, so I have to be a bit smart if I want to catch this cruiser. So I will have to go and do a little bit of intercepting. Since they're orbiting, you can technically position yourself in such a way that they fly towards your ship.
Warp drive active.
I am a slow Stratus. I'm not catching anything moving fast cloaked. Even if I'm decloaked, this thing is slow, so you have to rely on other tactics. So there is the trajectory that they're moving. They're orbiting, I would say about, looks like a 25-kilometer orbit around the ships, which is, I would say, a normal orbit for a long-range kite. Well, medium-range, long-range Gila. They're fast, definitely not slow. They have full shield. Okay, let me attempt a intercept. Luckily, because of their position, they will fly right towards me. That's why they took this warp out, because Yeah, this is exactly how I imagined it would go. They're flying right towards my ship, making it pretty easy for me to gain distance and get really close, and at this moment it's already too late. Gila got caught, and let me just launch all of my drones. Going to approach to 0.
We're under attack.
And Gila in armor. And once the shield goes out, usually it's a very easy catch afterwards.
We're under attack.
Okay, let's take a look at the wreck, and well, not bad. They did have a red scanner. However, scanner is not going to work against cloaky ships, so they couldn't see me creeping around. And that's why they didn't warp out. If they did see a signature, they probably warp out, but
warp drive
I was
active.
close, played a little smart, and was a nice catch. This is why I like to fly the Stratus. It's such a good ship for content like this, for a cruiser or something. If you can find a mission runner with the Stratus, it's just a very easy catch. Okay, not bad, decent catch. Did it have a scrambler? Did look like looks like kind of a PvP build, but I wouldn't really use that myself. But you know, it's a good catch either way. Okay, let's go to the next target. We have a Neros 2. Now this is something that happened quite funny.
Warp drive active.
I was transporting some things. I was moving from point A to point B, and it just so happens that I was crossing the system here, scanning, and I just saw a signature. I saw Neros. I thought to myself, okay, they were warp, but then I scanned again, and they didn't move. So I decided, let's check it out, and since this Neros is a little sleepy on the gate here, I mean, I'm not going to say no to Neros, obviously. Scrambled, I'm going to gently orbit at about, let's go 0. It's a transport ship anyway. Not a... no, this interceptor did see some... This interceptor did see some combat before. This is the same interceptor that I used for the NullSec roam a couple months ago. And this interceptor, I think I have a Raven Navy mail with this interceptor a long time ago. I think that's what happened. So that's pretty much the same ship. Neros is now into armor. Well, this is going to be pretty fun if this Neros is loaded with stuff. If the Neros is loaded with items, that's going to be a good catch, I would say. A very good catch actually. The only drawback that I have with this ship is it doesn't have a lot of DPS, which is, wow, I would usually expect that. I mean, even have the wrong implant. If I had to work at charge, it would be different. There's definitely a lot of benefits for me to get the warhead charge implant for bombers, for interceptors and stuff like that I usually fly. Or ships that I would fly. I mean, I don't know if there's any other ship going to be launched into the game. So that's left to be seen. Also looks like a golden nanocore. I mean, I do have a feeling that this Neros is going to be... pretty loaded with stuff, so... So maybe a good loot drop. I know, actually a long time ago, almost half a year ago, I did have a outpost. I got a bestower that carried an outpost. Unfortunately, the outpost did not drop. So yeah, that was quite the missed chance there. But But I did manage to catch the beast over. It was a very good male, 15 or 17 billion, something like that. It was a good catch. Well, one more hit should do the job. One more missile impact and the Neros should be destroyed. And Neros destroyed. Well, let's see what we have in the... Let's see what's inside of this ship. 3 billion. Well, they did okay. They did carry some planetary materials. I'll take it. I'm not gonna complain about that. It was a good catch. 3 billion free, basically. But I can't really pick that up, so I guess I'll have to. I have to hire a transport ship for this job. I'm definitely not going to leave the wreck in space. It could be interesting to see how much value there is, and after taking a look at all the stuff inside, it's about a billion ISK, I believe, of planetary materials, which I still need to sell. So if I manage to, actually, I will get that out probably, and I will sell it. But yeah, it was a fun little catch. Now next we have
We're under attack.
the Raven Navy. Okay, it's interesting, and they did immediately go and they did aggro. So we are at station here, so engaging at the station right now would be pointless. Pretty much both of us can dock. My idea was to see if the Raven will follow me, track me, and if they do track me, maybe I'm going to be able to lure them out of Zero from the station. But there's also another problem. The station is rather large, so Zero is actually a wide area around the station, so that idea is probably not going to work. So the other option is to try and get the Raven Navy to follow me around, which would be actually a solid idea. If they can leave the station, if they go to a planet or something like that, that would be an ideal position to catch the Raven Navy. I'm just trying to figure out where should I go. They're still launching missiles at me, but I'm outside of the range, so they're not reaching my ship. So where should I go? I could go to, actually I can go to the gate. To the gate is also a bad idea, because they can jump. We want to ensure to catch the Ravens, so we have to be, as I like to say, a little bit smart about this one. Okay, they stopped launching missiles, which means that they might be preparing to dock. So let me do something stupid. Let me just warp the planet and let's see if they follow. That would be pretty interesting if they follow. Okay, I have warped. Let's see if the Raven follows. I'm prepared to have dual guidance disruptors. And let's see if they follow me over here. Well, they did follow, but they missed the planets. Planet 10, and it seems like Raven has been engaged. Perfect, so let's find Planet 10 and let's go to Planet 10. Okay, so they are... seems that they are pointed at the planet. Where is the planet? And there it is. And let's... wait a second. No, this is not planet. Okay. For a second I thought I was at planet 10. I'm not. I think I'm on planet 7. Yeah, this is 7. 10 is down there. So let's... why doesn't the game let me warp? Click. There it is. Finally it works. took a year for... Why is the UI so glitchy all of a sudden? I was trying to click on that like 5 times, it didn't register.
active.
It's so weird. Alright, anyway. Now we are in warp. I don't know what was up with that. I tried to click, didn't open the menu for some odd reason there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens to the Raven. Okay, there they are. 61 kilometers, that's decent distance, works for me. Going to quickly enter orbit. Bombard loaded, drones yeeted. And let's see what happens. I'm going to orbit at 32 kilometers and then slowly going to keep approaching. They're using tactical missiles, it seems, based on the red icon that I saw there. Well, that Raven is losing shield rather quickly. I actually expected the Raven to be a bit more tanky, but I guess not. Seems like a glass build. The Raven is now hunting my drones. Let me pull them back in. The assault drone is much faster, obviously, but that's fine. My goal here is to apply the the guidance disruptors, which will cripple the missile performance of the Raven and significantly reduce the damage that our ships are going to take from the missiles on the Raven. Okay, we are now in armor, taking a lot more damage as expected. After all, Ravens and cavalry ships usually are not good armor tanks. You should not armor tank a cavalry ship. Never ends well. Well, in most cases it doesn't end well, but you know. Low armor, okay. Going to change orbit to 23. Some decent hits now, okay. Disruptor range. My drones are taking hits, time to pull them back in. Turn off my mech warp drive so that the drones catch up with the ship, and a couple more hits and the Raven will be blown up. Very low, well actually 30% hull, there it is, the Raven Navy destroyed. Well, that was a good catch. That was a good catch. Let's see if we can catch the pod as well. We can. Let's take a look inside the wreck. Well, okay, I'll take it. Some C-types we could use, I guess. Not bad. And let's see the value of the Raven. 8.85. Well, that's not a bad build. I just don't really see how. Actually, okay, it explains why it wasn't that tanky. DPS rigged with resistance modules, but that wasn't enough though. For the Navy ships, if you go with tank, you go full tank. I wouldn't mix an extender and a booster. That doesn't seem to work that well. I usually go full passive or full active, but never mixing both, because if I end up mixing them, somehow it usually doesn't really end up performing really well.
Docking request accepted.
Obviously is going to be traumatic. Now, keep a close eye on the name of the coveter, because it's going to be very important down the road in this video. We caught this coveter, and it's going to be very interesting to see what ship comes after the coveter. That's what I'm saying. Keep in mind, remember the name, because again today we had a lot of revenge attempts today. That's kind of what I talked about in the last video. I talked about a lot of players returning basically for revenge, and it's a good loot drop though. Singled out miners, those are expensive. Not too expensive, but you know, 1.8 billion value for a ship like that's pretty decent. Definitely pretty decent. That's definitely a And good catch. Okay, let's vanish. Oh, I have a drone. Usually I don't have a drone in the cells because it's kind of useless. And definitely can mess up the cloaking with the cells. Now, when I said remember the name, what do you see here? Oh, an Anubis, and the Anubis came for, you guessed it, for revenge. So, seems they're already fighting. Let me just put the LowSec on the watch just in case. Oh, that's a huge hit on the space pen. Let me quickly get close to the Anubis. Good thing is this thing is ridiculously fast. This is a very fast Celos. So am I at least going to show up on the kill mail? That would be pretty decent if I show up at least. Okay, within range and 78 kilometers. And I guess I got Anubis. I got a mail, unfortunately. Now you might be wondering, why did Anubis just pop in here all of a sudden? Well, that's the same pilot that lost the Coveter a couple minutes ago. They came for revenge, and they also DM'd me that I should stay here. We stayed here, and we got a little present, 25.4 billion ISK. Anubis is pretty good catch, not the highest value Anubis that I've seen. I think my highest Anubis was like 37 billion or something like that. Full B types. But still Anubis, still very expensive and kind of a rare ship. So yeah, good catch though, and they did say that they would, I guess, return. So yeah, another failed revenge, I guess. Still pretty weird. Out of all ships, they decide to come back in Anubis. Out of all ships, they took the least tanky one out of the bunch. I mean, for revenge, I would personally use a bomber battleship or something like that. I would use something tanky, you know, something very tanky. Those ships are, I would say, perfect for revenge. Anubis and all of other ships like that, I wouldn't use them for revenge because they're just a huge target and not much tank on them. Anyway, look, a enforcer. That's convenient. And the enforcer cloaked. That's just lovely. Smells like a super capital, that's for sure. Enforcers usually mean two things: roaming ship or a signer ship. There is never in between. Next we have a Praxis. It also showed up quite randomly actually. Let's open fire, launching everything I have. Praxis usually isn't a difficult ship, but they can be quite expensive. You'll be surprised, but the Praxis is one of the more expensive ships that you can find. It's still technically a faction battleship, but for some reason every single fitted Praxis that I've seen lately, Praxis 2 especially, for some reason always has expensive stuff just loaded in the ship. I don't really understand why that's the case, but in this case it's naked. Just a micro warp drift and that's about it. Lovely. That's pretty interesting, or should I say pretty cursed, I don't know. A naked battleship. Convenient. But as I like to say, a kill is a kill. It doesn't matter anymore. If naked or not, what matters is that you blew up a boat. Next we have a magnate. Now these little things, I remember back in the day when a magnet would just fly in and just drop like 2 billion loot. Those were the fun days. Those were definitely the fun days, I would say. Well, I mean, the game is still fun, but back then I personally feel like I enjoyed it a little bit more. I enjoyed it probably a little bit more. But that could be just me. Next we have, let's see, we have a Praxis too. Now I actually wanted to take out this Praxis with my Enforcer.
Warp drive active.
And because I feel like that was the I personally feel like that was the appropriate ship for the Praxis, but then I saw that they were actually kind of far away, very far away actually, and then I also saw that they are in such a position that I can't really get close to them that easily. There is no warping, and I can't
Warp
do the
drive
double warp
active.
because of the fact that there is no object to warp to. So I decided to do something risky. Well, when I say risky, not exactly a
Docking
risk
request
to my
accepted.
ship, but a risk because the target can easily warp out. I said, okay, if I can warp to it, if I can't really get close to it, if I can point it in general, I'll take a ship that can just blow it up in hopefully a couple of seconds, which means it's time to take out the Dominix Navy. Now I just hope that I have the correct build on this thing. I would have to put sentries inside. I will probably just put the pulsar sentries and just drop the sentries at 0. Just warp 0, just drop sentries and just lock the Praxis and hope that it will blow it up. Bombard loaded. Let me go. Yeah, I have the wrong drones. Let me put all the drones back. Actually, no. Let me put the sentries in. Pulsar sentries should be loaded. And then the core, it will do. I already have, yeah, it will do. It already enough DPS. I don't have to equip the thermal 2 nano core. It will be overkill. Let's just go and see what happens. I don't expect to catch the. I absolutely do not expect to catch the Praxis. I expect them to warp off. I do expect them to warp off the second I land. But let's just try up. Maybe I get lucky and maybe it just gets blown up in a second or two. Let's go and warp at 32. Although that also might be a little bit of a mistake, but I didn't really want to be exactly close if it happens. In this case, if I land, I will have hopefully 100 kilometer distance from the Praxis, which should be within the optimal range of my pulsar sentry drones. We will see what will happen in any case, in a moment or two. Okay, there they are. Now, I should have warped at 0, I believe. 100, yeah, a little bit more than 100 kilometers, but should be okay, hopefully. Siege up. Damage mods are loaded, and fingers crossed that. Ooh, that's just nasty. Okay, works. Armor hull, and well, it worked, I guess. It worked. Okay, let's loot. Make war overdrive on. That's the Praxis. Was able to destroy the ship before they warped off. That's a good one. That's actually something I did not expect that it would work. Okay, well, That was actually unexpected. I did not expect to see that working, but here we are. It actually worked. I did not expect that to actually end up the way it did. Let's see what the 1.6 billion is not bad. They did have a lot of stabs. I just realized that. 3 warp compromisers and dual aura stabs. So even if I did get like close to it, I wouldn't be able to hold it. So this ends up being the smart idea actually, blowing it up before they can warp off. If I did take the enforcer, I wouldn't be able to hold him. Even if I landed close with the dummy, if I use skirmishes, I wouldn't be able to hold him. So that was a unexpected good catch and some decent loot as well. Not going to complain about some extra drones. After all, I love extra drones. My drone boats will appreciate those.
Warp drive active.
My drone boats will appreciate those. So that was a nice little run with the Dominix Navy. I actually didn't really fly this thing in a very long time. I only fly the Dominix Navy in some exclusive moments. If something like this happens, I guess I fly it. If there is something super tanky, I fly it. But I really, I do like this ship. I do enjoy like flying it. It's just I personally prefer other ships. I prefer something more normal than a ship that can have the DPS of a super cap or a dreadnought or something like that with bombards. But there's use for the Dominix Navy. There's always use for that ship. Although I don't fly it as much as I used to. I am mostly back to cruisers nowadays. I take a battleship only in some exclusive situations, as we have seen. Now next we have a retriever. And I was roaming around a little bit, and it just so happens that I've seen a retriever just mining, and am I going to say no to a retriever? Absolutely not. You never know what they can. You never know what they can carry. You can carry some iron mining lasers, which can be quite expensive in the market, or some other mining lasers that can be expensive in the market. I did say that I want to hunt the mining ships for the loot, and that wasn't a joke. Actually, I really want to do that, but not with this ship though. I need to have something different. Now where are they though? In the middle of space. Is that a safe spot or something? Well, safe spot is not going to work if we can get scanned down like this. And let's just warp at 0. It's a retriever. It cannot be a threat, right? Famous last words. Active. I still need to get a retriever for myself to use it for combat. Would be pretty funny. Imagine if I just take a Neros or something like that and start roaming with it in a fleet. It would be hilarious actually. Well, looks like a safe spot. They are trying to warp, I believe. Let's just be fast. Let's open fire as quickly as I can. Point it. And one more hit or 2 more hits should do the job. Now they're moving, but it's too late. Okay, destroyed. Nice. And let's see the loot. Something good, something bad. Nope, nothing. Okay, I'll just delete the evidence then. Nothing happened here. There it is. Okay, now I can continue. I actually wanted to go somewhere else, but the retriever just happened to be here.
Warp drive active.
As I mentioned before, not going to say no to a free retriever. It's just potential ISK. 163 million ISK. Did have an aura stab, so they could have warped off if they wanted to. But yeah, 93 million is good. Yeah, not bad. Not bad, I'll take it. Let's go to the next one. And I'm back
Undocking.
in the RV. Good old classic RV. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, hulls in the game. Iconic ship indeed. We have a Omen, so it's going to be a classic ship versus a classic ship, just the way I like it. I am
Warp
well
drive
prepared
active.
for situations like this, but that's why I have the ship. I purposely built and bought a lot of low-tier ships for low-tier ships, basically, to make it more fair, and I personally enjoy this type of combat a lot more than using a Salus or something similar. There's the Omen, launching the drones. I have tracking disruptors, going to orbit at 22 kilometers.
We're
Am I
under
going to use
attack.
bombards? Definitely not. There is no need to use the bombard. Oh look, a extended doom. That looks like a PvP built Omen. Would be pretty fun if that Omen is a PvP built one. And if this was a bait, we will find out pretty quickly. They're trying to hit my drones, but tracking disruptors said no. So my drones should be safe. Hopefully. They are now in hull. And just a little bit more. And Omen has been destroyed. Okay, not bad. That was an enjoyable little encounter. Not going to complain about that, that's for sure. Again, classic combat, classic experience in Iveco's is probably the best experience. I enjoy this more than dropping the dummy at Praxis, by the way. It feels a lot more
Warp drive
natural.
active.
It feels a lot more like Eve, like the classic Eve. Well then, that is going to be it for today. It was a lengthy video actually, 42 minutes, longer than usual. So let's take a quick look at the Omen, and then it will be 87 million. That's actually not bad, and yeah, they did seem to be prepared for PvP. Okay, well, that's interesting. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.